Iran says it intends to respond to the suspected Israeli attack on its territory that would instill deep regret in the perpetrator, as it called on the Council to uphold its responsibilities while accusing the United States of providing authorization and intelligence for the strike on its capital.
The Islamic Republic of Iran condemns in the strongest possible terms this horrible terrorist act as a most serious violation of international law and the Charter of the United Nations, as well as a grave breach of Iran's sovereignty and national security. The Islamic Republic of Iran reserves its inherent right to self-defense in accordance with international law to respond decisively to this terrorist and criminal act when it deems necessary and appropriate. The Islamic Republic of Iran reaffirms its commitment to upholding international law and the purposes and principles of the United Nations Charter.
We must first stress the rank hypocrisy.
Israel called the meeting an example of rank hypocrisy, accusing Iran of being the world's #1 sponsor of terrorism, responsible for the most horrifying barbarism across the region and the globe.
Iran has used its proxies, Hamas, the Houthis and Hezbollah, to target Israel and our citizens from every direction. Just last week, children were innocently playing a soccer game in the Druze village of Majd al-Shams. An Iranian-supplied Falak 1 Hezbollah rocket murdered 12 of these children and injured 30 others. Where were the condemnations of Hezbollah and their Iranian suppliers for the butchery of these 12 children? All that was heard were expressions of concern for escalation and calling for both sides, again equating a democratic member state of the United Nations with a vicious terrorist organization to show restraint.
I want to be very clear about this.
The United States reiterated its position that Israel had the right to defend itself, citing the suspected Hezbollah rocket attack on the Golan Heights and blaming Iran for supporting terrorist proxies in the region, including in Gaza, Yemen and Lebanon.
The United States was not aware of or involved in the apparent death of Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh. Indeed, we have no independent confirmation as to Hamas's claims regarding his death. Fourth, and as Secretary Blinken noted earlier today, it is best not to speculate on the impact that recent events may have on peace and security in the Middle East. A broader war is neither imminent nor inevitable, although the opportunistic attacks by Iran and its network of terrorist proxies and partners across the region have repeatedly brought us closer to a regional conflict.
China's envoy said his country firmly opposed and strongly condemned the assassination of Haniyeh, calling it a blatant attempt to sabotage peace efforts in relation to Gaza.
As of now, however, ceasefire negotiations have yet to yield any progress, while the spillover effects of this conflict are increasingly visible, with the tensions between Lebanon and Israel, between Syria and Israel, and in the Red Sea sounding the alarm frequently. The Middle East situation is hanging by a thread, much to the concern of the international community. Given the severity of the situation, the parties concerned must heed international calls for a ceasefire and cessation of fighting.
Sierra Leone pointed out that Haniyeh was being pursued by the prosecutor of the International Criminal Court in relation to crimes committed in the October 7 attack on Israel.
If there was ever a quest for justice, that is the justice and accountability process our multilateral system based on the rule of law allows for, and not by unlawful killings. To this end, we call for a comprehensive investigation into the attack as reported by Iran to determine the facts and circumstances surrounding the incident and to ensure those responsible be held accountable for any violation of international law.
Guyana's representative said the Middle East was approaching boiling point, condemning the violations of both Iran and Lebanon's territorial integrity, while calling on the Council to use the tools at its disposal.
The central question for this Council, therefore, is whether we will continue to adopt a wait-and-see approach, or whether we will use the appropriate tools at our disposal to temper the escalating violence.
There was broad consensus in the Council that the escalations being witnessed across the Middle East was linked to the inability to find a peaceful outcome to the war in Gaza. Shervin Briceby's SABC News, New York.